Hello everybody, in this tutorial we will learn how to write a while loop in JavaScript. To begin, we will write a variable for the increment var counter equals 0. Now we'll add our while loop. So write while, and inside these parentheses we will need a conditional. So the while loop will run as long as the conditional is true. So we will run it until the counter is less than 20. While counter is less than 20. And now we will print out each counter value. So write document dot write value is plus. Now we'll add the counter plus. Now we'll add a break so that each value is displayed on a separate line. BR. Well, actually, sort letter is better. Now another thing we need is to increment I every time so that it eventually goes over 20. Otherwise, it'll just end up in a infinite loop. So counter plus plus. This will add 1 each time it loops over. Now let's save it and let's test it out. As you can see here that it displays values from 0 through 19 since the while loop is true while the value is less than 20. So as long when it becomes 20, the while loops is not executed and the loops is ended. Now there's a difference in how you place the counter. For example, if you had placed it above the document, the result would have been different. For example, let's save it and refresh. As you can see, the value now starts from 1 and goes up until 20, because over here you are incrementing, then you're writing, then it goes back off over here and sees that it's 20 now, so it ends the while loop. So now let's write a do while loop. A do while loop is same as while, except it always execute one time. So do, you write the curly braces, and then you write the conditional over here, while, and then in the parentheses the conditional while you want it to be true. So while do count is less than 20. Also need to declare a variable over here called do count equals 0, and we will also print this out as well. Document dot write do value is plus do count plus. We will also put this on a separate line. And we also need an increment for this as well. Do count plus plus. This adds 1 to do count every time it loops over. So how this works is, once this loop is done, it goes over here, sets this value to 0, and then it goes inside the do, and this will print out the 0, and then this will increment it by 1, and then it will check to see if the do count is less than 20, and if it's less than 20, then it will go back up here write out the value, increment it, and then go here and test it again until the do count is 20. So this should print out values from 0 through 20. I mean 0 through 19. Let's refresh this. As you can see, this is the values for the first loop up until here, and then begins the do value. First it starts at 0, then 1 up until 19, because when it's 19 it prints out, then over here it becomes 20, and over here it checks the conditional and it is 20 is less than 20. That's what the do count is. Value is 20 and this is false, so it exits the while loop. This also works the same way as the above. If you had put the plus plus before the document, if you refresh it, you can see that the do value starts at 1 and prints out until 20 because you are incrementing before the write. So this was 0 here, it becomes 1, prints this out and goes through the conditional until it's 19, then it becomes 20, it prints it out, then checks the value 20 of the do count against this and see if it's less than 20, which is false, then it exits. Another thing about the do count is that if, for example, we set both variables initially at 20 and this at 20 as well, and let's save it. And what this does is, since this is 20, it will go here and check, is the value counter less than 20? This will print out no, it's not, so this loop will never run. Over here the do is 20, it will go to the do, go inside it, increment it, it becomes 21, then document will write 21, then it will check whether do count is less than 20, which is false, then it will make the while loop not execute again. So let's save it and test it out. Let's reload. As you can see, we only see the do value is 21 because while loop always checks to see whether the condition is true at the beginning, while the do loop always executes the statement inside its block before it checks to see if the value is true or not. And this is it for the while and do while loops. Thank you very much and stay tuned for the next tutorials.